It's not a conspiracy theory when the government admits it over 200 times. I've got the web link there at the bottom of the tinyurl.com/no record found, and for those of you who like to have QR code, it's sitting there as well. So what we're talking about here, as you can probably guess with that picture of what looks like possibly the coronavirus, is the big question is it actually real? Well, the government were asked this question, and many governments were actually asked, and so were many health institutions. And this comes from all over the world under the guise of replies from under the Freedom of Information Act from New Zealand, Australia, there's Canada, Germany, there's UK as well, Portugal, Brazil, and lots of other places, including Robert Koch Institute and so on. So let's just jump in and have a look at the list. So we've got the screen and get it scrolling down now, just introductions at the top, and we can have a look at these Freedom of Information requests as they scroll by. Now you probably will not be able to read them scrolling on a screen, so I would probably encourage you all to go to the web link and have a read, and you can download the PDF replies for yourself. Some of them are a bit more lengthy than others because they had some backward and forth correspondence, but you get the idea very, very quickly. You're in a position here where the media, the television, tells these scary stories about some killer virus that's we've got to shut down the planet, while these Freedom of Information requests are all saying that the government is admitting they can't prove the virus is real. Now that as a thing is happening simply because these Freedom of Information requests are framed entirely within the context of the scientific method. And this is important because they keep telling us, of course, it's all about the science. But one thing you probably notice on the TV from the government, they never actually show you the science. They don't even tell you where you can read it for yourself. And this is pretty much because they don't have it. So once you understand that biology as a thing was completely debunked and destroyed in the first half of the 20th century, and then reinvented in the earliest 1954 with no proof whatsoever, and have been bluffing it ever since. And this is the position we've got ourselves into, because people naturally just jump into the fear of the next scary story that they get on the TV and on the media. But in actual fact, with a clear head and some critical thinking, you can actually pretty much figure out for yourself that there's no such thing as a virus. So what we have to do now, of course, is to get this message out to everybody else. But there's all these Freedom of Information requests that are available to view to say that the government have admitted it already. You saw one there going by there saying from the police, so there's no point in asking them because they already know there's no virus, even though when they're telling you to put a mask on. Now that's how stupid it is, but this is where we are now. But as we can no doubt, if you probably find that there's actually one from your part of the world, from wherever you're from. It doesn't matter, it's quite a broad number of countries there, and they all come back and say the same thing. No government or health authority can prove the virus is real, and that is quite a damning thing in itself. And it's, of course, it's the propaganda and the controlled opposition which are keeping a lid on all this message, because there is an agenda behind all this, a very evil one at that. But this information, of course, although is freely available, is also not getting very well distributed around. And this is what this video is for, just to hammer home just how much there's actually proof that this virus does not exist. So I think we are just about at the end, and we see some of the videos and so on which have been linked to this, and by the time we get to the end of this, we can ask the big question of how do we stop this absolute nonsense? Because if you're still in the space where you believe that there's still a virus, even though the government knows that viruses do not exist, if you're still not curious by now, The only one in denial is you.